or no?
It's fun to drive. It's the all-wheel drive jack of all trades. Sunny tarmac? Good. Blizzard? More good. Today, we're gonna kick it into overdrive with the rise and fall of one of the car history's greatest tuner car heroes, the Subaru WRX. Let's go! Question, why do people love the underdog? It's because that's who we are, right? I mean, it's relatable. You don't have Jeff Bezos money or presidential powers. You just have some elbow grease and a set of box wrenches. Or put a different way, the average person is the Goliath Ferrari. So when David comes along, we take notice. It came from humble beginnings. Back in the 80s, World Rally was hot. Groupie made people excited to be alive, and dirt became the proving ground for all race addicts. On the sidelines of the greatest battles sat Subaru, who watched Lancia and Audi and even Nissan take trophy after trophy where the tarmac ended. But one day, Subaru, they got bold. They scrapped together some old parts and recruited some old tired mechanics to make the legacy capable of surviving the wilderness. And just like a child who tries ice cream for the first time, oh baby, they were hooked. And in 1992, they took their smaller, lighter Impreza and gave it a serious upgrade. They turned it into, are you ready for the three most famous letters in automotive history? WRX, or World Rally Experimental.
WDペアスポーツインプレッサ WRX 誕生
Because, well, it was the 90s and you had to have an X in the name or you weren't cool. So here was David, a four-door, four-cylinder little economy car from a weird company that everybody thinks is from Australia, but it actually is from Japan, that could run down the Italian and German competition. The turbocharged flat four made 230 horsepower, and it had this unique sound that made it instantly recognizable. I mean, you know it, the Subaru growl. Unfortunately, we here in the States didn't get to experience the thrill of asymmetrical headers. Subaru had to win some races, hire some legendary drivers, take on the video game world, and forge a rivalry with Mitsubishi that would be to car enthusiasts what Fender is to Gibson guitars. Bet you didn't know I could play guitar. Now, before finally they decided that the US deserved the WRX in 2001. And can you say instant hit? Like I said before, we love the underdog story. And here was this mean little looking sedan that spit fire. At first, you wouldn't know what to think. Subaru, right? They sell that station wagon that your aunt and her really close best friend love. The one that she always insists on bringing to dinner, you know, that one. And not this car. And it's got a huge wing and huge scoop. And it's kinda affordable. Sorta, kinda. So, you take one for a test drive and oh baby! This little car can freaking fly! Suddenly, they are everywhere. Every car meet is littered with the WRX. People showing off the modification and talking about how easy it is to make mind-blowing power. It has become a symbol for tuners. People who take cars that shouldn't be fast and use them to straight up slay Ferraris and Lamborghinis. Subaru does change them up from time to time, but each time it's fire. First came the Bug Eye, then the Gundam Eye or Blob Eye, and finally, probably one of the most famous front ends ever made, the Hawkeye, like the one from Baby Driver or Gymkhana. But popularity, it changes a person though. And sometimes the underdog fame goes to their head. And coming off the success of the second generation, the third generation was unleashed to the world in 2008. Sometimes called the Stink Eye?
Because, well, it kind of looked like your face if you stepped in something kind of unpleasant, and it was a total
overhaul from the original. Yeah, I could never do that again and be happy with that.
That didn't sound very good. Unlike the asymmetrical headers on the boxer motor of the WRX.
Okay, yeah, that sounds way better. And I said that fame may have changed Subaru, but that's not charitable. What really happened was that the whole world changed. And suddenly safety and conformity sold better than insanity, which is a serious shame. And the Impreza WRX changed with the world and became safer, heavier, and a lot less insane. And it really didn't have that underdog appeal anymore. If you saw a WRX on the road, you expected it to be fast. No one thought it was just some weird little econobox anymore. And Subaru had done a fantastic job of living a dual life of underground racing on the weekends, but then the same person would be able to take their dog to the dog park during the week. The thing is though, the slingshot wielding power of the original was still there. A proper WRX could run down the competition, and the Subaru versus Mitsubishi rivalry was stronger than ever. And that rivalry kept Subaru from getting too arrogant. If they would have ever rested, they would have been toppled from their podium by the Lancer Evo. And you know how the story ends, don't ya?
Evos are red, Subis are blue, and they both go BAM! But Subis are kinda known for blowing up, usually because of a check engine light that was just never checked. Luckily, today's sponsor Fixed can save you a ton of headaches and money. Just simply plug into your OBD2 port, scan for faults right on your phone, and BAM! You know what's wrong. So snag one for you and your friend for less than $20 for a limited time. Link down in the description. Now back to Big Bad Brad and the Subaru WRX. Oh, and thanks Fixed for sponsoring this video.
The 4th gen of WRX comes in 2014, and Mitsubishi throws in the towel shortly after that. David had let the fame get to his head, and now had nothing to keep him in check. It's honestly a very classic but sad story. Anyone who plays sports knows this to their core. The minute that you get comfortable is the minute you forget your way. And that is exactly what happened to Subaru. The WRX started on a very strong foot. First, it was the first time you could get a 6-speed, which felt oh so nice, especially on the freeway. But somehow it didn't break 300 horsepower. It pretty much had the same horsepower as it did 20 years ago. And it was heavy, like it needed to go see Jenny Craig yesterday. Yet, mostly, the new WRX had lost all of its insanity. Part of that problem was that hood scoops and big wings weren't really crazy anymore. Hell, those were options on a Corolla. And part of the problem was that the only people with money were grown-ups. And grown-ups want things that are predictable. But really, the problem is that Subaru had no incentive to push the limits. If you wanted an all-wheel drive turbo that normal people could afford, I mean, what else were you gonna buy? Which, real talk, is still a great choice, don't get me wrong. Just, do you know anyone that loves the new WRX more than the old ones? Yeah, I mean, now it's 2022, and we have a new WRX, which I don't even want to talk about. We've done it before, or you could listen to 100 other videos on the interwebs. Superman joined forces with Lex Luthor, and the Sti Is Now no more. I don't blame Subaru though. You do what you have to do to survive. It's just a little sad. The tuner age, it's gone, and the gas age is coming to a close. What we need to do is celebrate the older WRXs. We need to keep the history alive and be open to change. Subaru ushered in a new era of enthusiasm with the Bug-Eye WRX some 20 years ago, and let's have faith that they can do it again, while making sure to pay respects to the four-door sedan that conquered Goliath. This has been Ideal, and if you like these stories, make sure to check out our other Overdrive videos over here. I'm Brad Danger, this is Ideal, and as always, keep living the ideal lifestyle.